Here we are. I got it. It says I got it.
I'm so excited too, Hamish. Hell
Promo
yeah.
codes. Promo codes.
It's got my 75th booster.
So
All right. That's off. Oh, we got an ad. All right. Good. Oh, yeah. Casper mattresses, dude.
That's a good
My
sign.
pillow guy isn't. Whoa, it's the illusion. And Jordan reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. All right. We're in focus. Let me get my screen adjusted so I can say hello, Jordan.
Hey guys, how you doing, Hamish? How's your day going? How was your week?
It's been interesting to say the least. Your lighting is rather nice tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Did you get one of those like donuts?
No, there's no donut here.
You didn't get a donut?
No, I didn't. It's I'm donut free. I do have some of my frankincense burning though. Pretty happy about that. But yeah, no, this
nice.
is just natural lighting from the garage window.
Oh wow, that's
If you got some promo codes on that donut though, please shoot it my way.
It's BENDOVER, big one. Yes, yeah, all right, but you can
Awesome. So basically, it was you said BLM.
Yes,
BLM love. Oh, all right. Got it.
Yeah, you can, but you can't bug us anymore. Yeah, BLM all the way, dude. we're all feds, dude.
Such a racist.
Bunch of lunatics here. Yeah. So what have you been up to this week? We just so that the viewing audience knows, we decided to not have any agenda at all. So we're not going to be digging into the darkness of skateboarding or the darkness of any of it. But we're just going to be two dads talking tonight.
Yeah, just flowing. I agree. A lot. I mean, just I just had a friend over that just was over here and he's going through depression and kind of like a sort of I hate to put it as like a midlife crisis, but you know, he's going through like a middle-aged man struggle of what he wants to do. And that's heavy on my mind because he literally just left about a half hour ago. So that's sort of taken over a lot of my thoughts, but
that's real. That's real. That this is real time for that kind. I've been dealing with some people struggling with that stuff too, young and old alike. You know, I don't even know if it's a mid-age thing. It could just be that's a symptom of our time.
Yeah, that's more accurate. I from his context, he was more just that was a repetitive theme. Like I'm 40, you know, I'm at this age, I haven't achieved A, B, and C. I should have been A, B, and C, and why am I not A, B, and C? And it's just like, well, that's our human condition. We're all lacking in some regard, you know. So
yeah. It's well, let me ask you this. Does he have children?
Yeah, he has a daughter.
Well, he's got that going for him at least.
He has a daughter, and that's a part of the worry, you know, because he's divorced and she's with the mom, and he's renting. Like he's not in a good space for rent where he lives, and doesn't like his job, and wants to do more independent stuff. And at the end of the day, you know, his arguments are valid, but I think a lot of well, this is something we can get into later, but yeah, because I'll go on a tangent, but it's all good. Yeah.
Well, no, it's I think it's the same thing as, you know, there seems to be you have two kind of consciousness now. It's either victim or warrior. There's I think for a long time you could have been middle of the road once upon a time. If you have any consciousness, like I guess there's the third path, which is just asleep at the wheel. But if you're semi-awake, it's either victim or warrior. I think the first stage of waking up is almost victimhood. You know what I mean? Like, why is this happening to me? And then you realize it's not happening to you. You're happening to it, basically.
Yeah. And I always like the example. Someone said, you throw up flowers to God, you could expect flowers to come back down. You throw up, junk and crap and trash to God. Well, don't expect flowers to come down. We are, in a sense, we're creating our state of mind, our state of heart, our reality through the actions that we produce from our body, through what we say, from what we do. It all has an effect on the conditions that come down in our life from up high. So I'm a big believer in, not just you reap what you sow, but in real time, like, yeah, you will feel depressed if you're watching porn all day and you're drinking and you're destroying yourself over and over again. Don't expect to feel good because you don't have the foundation, which is self-respect. That's born out of living, righteously. And it's within everyone's control to do that. We've been sold a lie that says, we don't have any control over that. Well, we do have control over the choices we make. And if we feel out of control, we could always cry and beg for help, but there has to be an effort,
You mean you got to show up and do the work?
Yeah, you have to. You mean I just want a promo code, Hamish? It's promo code.
You mean there's no golden tickets? You don't.
I want universal basic income. I want all promo codes. I want a latte every 10 minutes, and I don't want to do anything. Okay, and a booster shot.
And a booster. Yeah, it's been an interesting one. This week we laid pretty low, but last week was tough, man. Just all the all that marital stuff. You bump. You do. I think that there's a level of, forget about all the outside madness, right? We can get to that in a minute, but I think just as a father and a husband, like, you bump into like these wall. I don't know if they're walls, but moments to decide if they're walls or obstacles, right? Like you kind of, you lose the communication about something and everybody's out of sync. And then, it's, what are you going to do there? Are you going to fold up shop? You're going to run away? You're going to quit? You're going to keep arguing? Are you going to do this and that? And last week was a pretty good learning week here at our, not last week, the week before. This was the recovery of the learning week from the week before. It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
It was all, everybody flared except even Owl flared a little bit. And I think, just there's a lot of energy moving around, and you have to look at your own home first, right? Like, it's pretty easy to get about that. Like, you and I, we go on and on about that, but I've just found that like the real battlefield's at home, and just trying to get everybody on the same page. Like, my teenager, definitely, I think this whole, whatever this is, kind of hit her pretty hard in the last 2 weeks, where so it wasn't something that really was that concerning to her. And, you bump into boyfriends and their own dysfunctional reality, like that's what's so weird, right? Like, you don't have any children. Your oldest is 12, right?
Yeah.
So I have a 16-year-old. So she dates another being, a guy. And so you get, not only do you get that package of your daughter rolling with this other person and that all that energy, you also get the package of this dude's life in your peripheral all of a sudden. So it's like last week, I think at the beginning of the other week, it came home, there was some big flare up with her and that family. You know what I mean? And it was like this whole thing. And then,
yeah,
so that caused a bunch of turmoil in because it's a COVID relationship, if to put it that way. Like, they were a product of online schooling, and it didn't have its natural place to go. And so and I was very much like, look, dude, we're not introducing, when this all began last year, we're not introducing new characters into the plot, dude. Like, that's yours. I respect it. And then, and I'm one of those, like, I'm a live and let live kind of guy. And I'm very standoffish, like, just like, you don't really want to hang out around me, because I will definitely go like dig in on this a little bit. Like, it was like the big flare up happened the other week. She asked me about something, and the answer I gave was no. And that was unacceptable. And I looked at her, I go, why would you ask me a question if I'm not allowed to say no? Like, why even bother asking me? Just go do what you're going to do with your dude, and don't bother asking me. But you asked me, I said no. And she's like, why? And she's like, why don't you like my boyfriend? And I go, all right, we're digging in here. And how, like, I guess we're just two dudes talking. So how it all started was when COVID happened, we sequestered up in our friend's compound up on the mountain in Santa Barbara, right? With other children and a pool and the whole thing, so that our kids could have kids to be around during the beginning of it all, the 2 weeks, right? The 2 weeks which turned into 6 weeks we were up there. And in the midst of that, like, this little dude showed up on the radar and tried to like sneak up to our like hidden compound, right? With his dad, like con his dad into driving him up there. So the first time this dude enters my field of vision, I'm literally driving up from here, checking on our house, going back up on an empty freeway and I'm like, got him and his dad on the phone. And I'm like, why are you driving up to like our lair, to our friend's house? Like, what's crossed your mind? And the dad's like, oh, like I go, so the dad's weak, the kid's weak and sneaky and the whole thing. So that was my opening salvo to this thing, which just led to a poopy storm following that. Move the ball forward. So like, it started bad, but I like go, look, I don't get involved. Like, it's your relationship, do your thing. Just don't I'm not that fired up on this character. And
Jordan, look at it's one of my eagles. Like, Daddy lets me have it.
Yeah.
That's
all those plates. All those Lego human figures.
Yeah, that's
this guy's just one of the Chimas.
Yeah.
That's the plague Lego bird.
Chima guy.
Yeah, Lego birds.
Chima guy.
So it all like a year and a half of this weird chess game came to a head like 10 days ago, right on cue.
That's tough,
and it was
bro.
like, why don't you like my dude? And I go, it all started shady. I go, that dude didn't come straight in the beginning. So and I'm very much about how it goes down in the beginning. Like, that dude was like trying to run a manip, and no.
What'd you call it?
A manipulation, dude.
Oh, manip. Okay.
Yeah. Manip, dude.
I love that.
Abbreviating words.
Yeah, well, that's Malibu right there.
Yeah, so it became this thing where I was like, look, like, the gift I've given you is I don't dig into this other human being's thing, and I don't make trouble. I'm just like, just keep them out of my gun sight, my metaphysical gun sight, and we're all good, dude. Giddy up.
Tough, man. It's
but we all worked it out. Because the truth needed to come out. And I've always been like, and it was like, you want the truth, I will explain it to you. But I don't have an issue what you do. You want to know why I'm the way I am about it. This is now we're here. So it is actually kind of a resolution, because he went and blew it the next 2 days later, dude. Right on. She came out of her room pissed and was like, you're right, he's an a-hole. I told you, dude. Giddy up.
That's the fear, me and my wife, we talk about all the time, is like the fear of like just the predatorial. Like, I know how I was of a predator when it came to girls, just to be honest, like growing up and just like the way that it goes down with like skaters and partying and just, just whatever, like you don't realize that this is someone's daughter this is someone's, someone who raised this child, who wants her to be protected, who wants her to be, and that's the worry I have, is like how they're just, it's tough, man. Like they're exposed to everything. And these guys, I hate to say it, but many dudes and a lot of these relationships are usually a dude just wanting to pork, and that's what I worry about, like with my girls and just, whatever.
Well, there's a weird thing of like the dudes, like, I'm a little bit more of a realist about it. I think like my wife's like, he's so nice. I go, that's why I don't like him. No way. Like he doesn't come straight. You know what I mean? Like there isn't a little bit of mano y mano going on. Like,
yeah,
where it's like, all right, dude, like you're coming around, like let's go have the man moment. Like you want to be a man, take my like kid out, like, and you've been doing this dance for a while. Why are you hiding in the shadows pretending to be that's not there's this weird, I don't know how to describe it, Jordan, but I come from such a like different school of thought. Like he's sober, like he's not a like on paper bad kid. Like I can't say that, like, but it's the interesting thing where like there's no sort of excitement, if you will. Like I don't look at the dude and be like, oh, what's this dude up to? Like, is he up to something kind of interest? There's not, there's no like sort of like spark for me to be like, all right, like, dude's kind of interesting. It's sort of like, no, he's like hiding in the shadows. And I know when I hide in so if it's a reflection, right? Like, I know that dude, that's me hiding in the shadows, trying not to make any trouble while secretly plotting like your destruction, dude. You know what I mean? So there's that weird thing where I'm like, no, dude, like just your opening salvo was manipulative and sneaky and creepy. And that's where you've never altered that thing. I just kind of like, yeah, I got it. You don't take drugs and you're a good kid, but like, where's your like, what's your passion project, if you will? Like, is to use the word they use in the little Montessori schools around. What's your passion project, bro? You a skater, you a surfer, you a warrior, what do you do? And like, I couldn't tell you, dude. No idea.
Yeah, no, that's red flag for sure.
Well, I come one of those like a year and a half deep now, right? They're like literally started at the beginning of the coup. And at this point, like I would have a little bit more like respect if I got a phone call from like, we're in Billings, Montana, dude, and we're staying. We found a ranch. We're riding horses, and we're out. And I'd be like, wow, like that's a man taking responsibility for a woman type of, like, you know what I mean? Like it's our kid, but still like there's that weird, weak kind of like limp handshake thing going on, which I'm just like, because I'm a gripper, dude. Like, let's grip, dude.
I feel you, brother. I feel you. That's there, because there's those, especially if you work, because you've worked with people like on like as far as like therapy for a while, right? Like as far as like
I've worked in and
who is it? Sorry. Oh, sorry. My mother-in-law. 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, look, what's he got in the background? That's a fan. What's he got back there, dude? What's in those bins, dude? What's in the boxes? You got any skate decks back there? Is that a box full of skate decks there, Jordan, dude? All right, let me read some comments. We got Gunler in here, Undercover Soy. You skateboards, what's happening, dude? Yeah, you like that? I'm heading up your way eventually there.
Thanks for handling that.
And let's see, we got Maxwell Richter. I'm a gripper. Yeah, we grip, dude.
Hey,
all right, there you are.
Yeah, my mother-in-law. She needed a real man to shut off the barbecue. It's just the right man to do it.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's real manly stuff, man. Shutting off that.
Hey,
what do you call that tank?
you know what my wife refers to them as blue jobs.
Good jobs.
Blue jobs. She's like, that's a blue job. No, go to it, dude. It's like when I had it's like the toilets, dude. Like the blue job is like, and it never is like a convenient time. It's like midnight. Like, dude, the toilet's backed up in the kid's bathroom. So I went and just got the like super plunger, dude. What kind of plunger you got, Jordan? As two dads, you got like a real plunger in there?
You want me to get my plunger?
That's serious. You got like a standard one of those?
I've got the I think I've got you're calling me out now. I think I've got the one with the extra like plungeability.
Fail. Let me
Oh,
show
you want the ridges. You want the ridges. Okay.
Yeah.
the ridge, the ridged plunger, the ribbed plunger. He's gonna pull the ribbed. I guarantee you he's gonna pull the ribbed plunger.
No, you got
these
dog.
Okay.
This if
so
you
I had
bro,
the snake.
yeah, you gotta have that, dude.
I had one. We did have it, and it went bad. We like left it outside, and it got all jacked. But
Oh,
hi. But that is the cure all right there. That's super easy. Like,
well, I light glued myself a long time with the standard struggles with the plungers. And then I got a real one, like a real, like it was not yielding to the to the soy plunge. And I looked up on YouTube, right? Go to YouTube. And it was like a little old lady. And I was like, let's see what she's got, dude. Because it was it was something like, the uncloggable toilet or something, right? And I was like, let's see what she's got. And she breaks out that thing. I'm like, and she got in there and was like, bam, dude. She's like, dude, twist it and go, dude. And I was like, all right. And I went down to the I went down to the Do It Center, and I was like, well, the ribbed one is $17 and this bad boy there is 26. I'm like, I'm done monkeying around with toilets, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm free of the toilet. I don't sweat it, dude. I'm like, clog it, dude. Let's go. Let me get in there and crank it out, dude. Like, I'm fired up.
Have no fear.
I took it to the, when it's that thing, it's like, it's like you go into the skate park and you're on your penny board. I've been penny boarding my toilets my whole life. And then I finally got like real.
That's.
I got a 7-ply maple.
7-ply maple.
Yeah, with some real wheels and trucks and shit.
I went into Zoomies once and I did I hid my GoPro camera. I didn't hide it. I actually told him about it, but it was okay. I don't know why I said I hid it. I didn't hide it. I showed him my GoPro and I was like, can I video, looking for a board? Can I video you helping me look for a board for my kid? So I knew he didn't know anything about skateboarding. And so he's telling me about oak wood. He's like, yeah, this one's made of oak. And this one's made of like 100%, maple. And this one's, he's like naming off all these woods that didn't exist. And I was like, what about the balsa one? He's like, yeah, this is balsa too. It was funny.
I will tell you though, I did in the 80s have one of those fiberglass slasher ones that Keith Meek put out on Santa Cruz, dude.
Yeah.
Remember those?
What's up?
One of my friends from prom class lives around the block.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, like the one I hang out with so much.
Come and say. This is my oldest shredder. He's been.
Put in.
You're on live right now. So like, what are some words of wisdom that you have for?
Yeah, give it to us.
Here? Anything?
No.
No. Okay. Thanks. Get out of here.
Thanks. That might be the wisest thing you can say nowadays. No.
Just don't say anything.
No. Just no. I was going to open up I wanted to open up a rehab, right? Goes back to what I was, when I used to work with, I've worked at sober livings and rehabs, and, I take the time to talk to any of these kids that call me up and whatever. And I wanted to open up a rehab called No, KNOWNO. No, just know how to say no.
Yeah.
Just, because that's where all these kids get off track, because they just don't know how to say no, which is peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
Like and you look at our whole thing right now. It's just a bunch of
skateboarding is like, I call it the yes man culture. No one wants to offend anyone. No one wants to say anything to rock the boat. Everyone has to be. You guys got to stop opening this door, okay? That's enough.
clip.
Come on, let's introduce you. You're my 7-year-old. This is Elias.
Elias.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what words of wisdom do you have for us?
That Corona's not real.
What?
That Corona's not real.
You're teaching them well. We gotta know, and the coop isn't real with some knuckles. Yeah, I'll say the same thing, man.
Say let's say it. Maybe Owl can. This is we want to. Is Owl around?
Owl.
You want to meet Owl?
Sure. Meet Jordan's son, Elias.
We're gonna go and hang out with them one of these days.
Yes.
We're
He's your
gonna
age.
do camping. So this is
Yeah.
camping. Yeah.
This is Elias.
Elias, yeah.
Elias, this is Owl. He's your age.
Hi.
Hey, buddy. Too awesome. How old are you, Owl? How old are you?
6.
6. Okay. So you're a little older. He's 7. Well, how old are you? How old are you? When's your birthday, Owl? Sorry. Go ahead.
June 23rd.
June 23rd. When's your birthday?
January 5th.
Yeah.
Okay. We're racing towards 8.
All right. Well, you guys got to hang out sometime. We're gonna make it happen. So
Absolutely. That's
Huh?
Yeah, that's what's interesting. Yeah, we're gonna set sail here and go do some camping for a little bit.
They're in the other room, but don't come back in here anymore, okay?
You're clipped.
Yeah. Okay. So can you go back to what you're saying about, because I was curious about your when you're working with people for the therapy. I knew you were doing some therapy and working with people that were going through different types of trauma. Is it were you working in that for a long time, or?
It's sort of a standard progression when you get sober. So, I got sober, and then, part of the thing is you gotta give it away to keep it, right? So you're in the program yourself, you're just working with whoever will show up, but then, you kind of fall into that line of work just by default. So you end up working at like some sober livings, and just because it's sort of like you're in it. And then especially out here in Malibu, I don't know if it's the same if you're in Iowa, but if you're getting sober in Malibu, it's like a no-brainer, dude. It's like the get well job. So I worked in there, and then I worked at a couple rehabs, and those are different than sober livings. Like the rehabs, you get them and they're all. So I'll tell you what, I was working at this rehab, I will not name, in Malibu, and they were holding these kids hostages, right? And these were like young 20-somethingers, and they were all coming out of Florida. And what was going on was these kids would get busted for whatever in Florida. I just call them kids. They were young adults. They would get popped for whatever, and they were all well-to-do. Like, so they would get in trouble for whatever they were doing in Florida, and they would get locked into the system with the judges and the whole deal, and they would get sent out to this rehab that I was working at. And what would go on was, it would be these rehabs are, $60,000, $70,000 a month. These kids are all well-to-do. Their parents are trying to duck the legal system back in Florida. And they would get them through they'd be like whatever it was, a 30, 60, 90-day program. And they would get them right to the end, and then they would jack them up. they would make them like kind of snap, and they would be like, no, they're not ready to go back to the thing.
Whoa.
And then keep them longer, right? So me being me, I had this interesting moment where I was there and I had these three young dudes from Florida, man. And one of them might have been from Ohio, but I had these three young dudes and I was like, look, man, I know it's exactly what I go, you want to get out of here? They're like, yeah. So the trick is the rehabs don't want you to stay sober. They want you to get sober enough to leave and monkey your life again, so that you have to come back and you feel guilty and shame. Like, oh, I can't pull it off, dude. I can't pull it off. But the 12-step program is for fun and for free, right? It doesn't cost you $70,000 a month to go to an AA meeting. It costs you nothing, or $1 or $2, or it just you showing up. So the rehabs use the AA infrastructure to like kind of get them to do this thing. But in the end, they're doing all these weird groups and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So I had these kids and I go, look, man, you guys want to get out of here, dude? I go, you guys want to get out of here, right? And they're like, yeah. I go, look, what you do is you hit the AA hard and then you tell all your therapists, because just for the people that don't know, what is therapist when you break it down? It's the rapist. Is when you break therapist apart, it's the rapist. And what a rapist, the therapist will do is keep you in a state of perpetual trauma, right? So the AA model is like, we go to God, we work out, we figure out what our trauma is, and then we give it to God and to another human being. And we don't close the door on the past, but we use it as a tool moving forward, and we just make peace with it, right? The therapist and the sobriety, the rehab model is, no, let's keep the monkey on your back. Let's just constantly like have you addressing the monkey, right? And so,
dude, 1 second. Sorry. No, it's heavy. I got something to share with you after this though. But yeah, that's
so to wrap
exactly
it all
right.
up real quick here, because so I had these three kids and I go, look, man, you guys want to get out of here? You want to get back home? I go, you hit AA hard with me at these meetings, because there was no other people at the rehab. It was just this unique time where it was just me, the three, and you call the little van you drive around the Ativan, because they got all these kids on farm. Most people don't know this, but in order for you to be in a rehab and have insurance pay for it, they have to prescribe you a drug in order for the system to kick in. So all these kids are on something, right? So you're driving them in the Ativan. No, go inside. And so I had these kids, we're hitting the AA hard. I'm working with them because I'm working with them sort of covertly. And I go, look, dude, whenever you get to your therapist, tell them you hate AA. Just, you hate it. I hate going to AA. I hate going to AA with Hamish. It's a pain in the ass, dude. That dude's all, God, I hate it. I hate it, dude. So I chipped these three kids out of this rehab, dude. And it was like this miracle move of like, again, if to go, I think what you were originally asking is trauma is real for all of us. Just being born can be traumatic, and it's not the trauma, it's what you do with it. And most ways that people deal with it is the constant masking and avoiding and ducking and weaving and ducking and weaving. And my advice to young people is like, face whatever it is and make peace with it. Like, go to God with it ultimately, and another human being, and like give it back in a package, and use it as a tool, because there's somebody that you'll meet down the line that has your scenario, whether it's you were molested or raped, or your parents were drunks or divorces or whatever it is. You'll eventually find the other person that you're meant to help out of that scenario. And each time, so I get to give advice to young people
COVID-19, sorry,
that are in their 20s, right? As a dude who got that advice in their late 40s or in their 40s, right?
Yeah.
So each time we help someone out of the ladder, if you will, reach down, we're closing up the amount of time the next generation suffers, from my perspective. In
absolutely. Absolutely. Because I do see this being, I actually even did I don't believe in stats too much, but they do give us an indicator. But I was looking up a stat before we got on about the prevalence of major depressive episodes among adults. And it says like an estimated of 17.3 million adults in the United States have at least one major depressive episode, right? I mean, that's what's documented. I'm sure it's way more.
Yeah, those are people that admit it.
Yeah, and this is 2017, right? So imagine with COVID-19 and all of what comes with that. There's a lot of people that are going through trauma now. There's a lot of people who are scared and they're depressed and so I like back to my friend who was over here, I was trying to because I do think a lot of people are struggling with this, and
For sure.
I watched my mom for 30 years on a bed. Okay. Literally 30 years. If you were to ask me what I remember from my mom, I remember her on a bed for 30 years watching TV. Why? Because she was depressed. And why was she depressed? Because she thought that her life, she, missed out because all of her friends that she went to Beverly Hills High School with, my mom grew up in Palisades, went to Beverly Hills High. All those people went on to become, movie stars and beautiful people, right? Not really at all, but that's how she looked at it. And she really was depressed because she felt that they have wealth and happiness, and I don't have the goodies that they have. And she failed to appreciate what she did have. And she actually had a lot. And she was a beautiful woman. She had a son who loved her, and she had people around her who loved her. And, later on, she would sort of kind of come out of it, but not really. But point being is that that what is very easy to remedy, I think what appears to be easy, it's not so much. It's easy for us to advise someone, but for them, I guess the point is that the real work, people don't want to do the real work that is required. That real work is literally just a change in perspective. The problem, I guess, and I'll end off with here, is that the problem with it is that a lot of people early on, when they fall into depression, they turn to, either they're medicated or they're turning to some sort of drug to sort of escape the sort of the feeling or whatever of what they're missing out on. So I can't be this movie star type that I want to be, so I'm gonna fill myself with crack or some other drug to feel, however, to get in that state of whatever I want to get into, to feel that. But a lot of people are going through it. A lot of people are going through it, and I do think a lot of depression is self-inflicted. I mean,
it's interesting. You've got you want to know why those messages, we got to handle some business. You want to know why those messages are being timed out, Jack Straws? I have no idea who Savage 1005 is, and it's not provable one way or the other, dude. And as far as I can tell, we're not getting into that, dude. It's unverifiable, dude. So we don't do that here, and we're not going to let the chat devolve into that insanity. We're here talking about real stuff and real issues. And so if you want to go with that stuff, you can take it to a different chat and a different channel right now. We're here talking about real issues of people suffering with depression, kids, family. We're not talking about hypotheticals and unverifiable things. So back to the regularly scheduled program. Well,
yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I mean, I think I'll speak for myself as someone who went through depression for many years. I went through it many years. About 10 years I spent in and out of psychiatric hospitals, literally.
Yeah.
And I had to sort of figure out what my triggers were. Number one, I had to figure out what turns that on in me that makes me depressed or puts me in a state of whatever you want to go. Like, you know, there's depression, and then there's like mania, right? Where people are like, think they're Jesus Christ, right? And there's weird, and what I realized when I figured out the spell of Hollywood, and I figured out what the magic of the media actually does, because a lot of these thoughts of depression and sadness are because people are constantly making a comparison between their life and the fake life that they're seeing on the tube, or the fake life they're seeing from the rock star. And I saw that in my mom, that she was always like holding her life up to like Elizabeth Taylor or someone that was like, first of all, not her, but also it was just a fake construct that wasn't even real. And I think that once we realize that we have to not look at anything else and look inward, we could start to sort of figure out what works for us. But part of the way of curing the depression for me was to get, you know, obviously having a family and gives you that purpose, having people around you that love you, which is crucial. And then, you know, it's, I'm trying to figure out what's going got a lot of activity here.
Well, it would be your classic disruptor. I mean, you were talking about something that's super valid, but it was the one like, oh, my friend who was 40, like coofed out with 2 kids, get the sauce, and then it just started a whole thing. And I don't do that. Like, that's so memey. Like, oh, it's just straight from the meme machine.
Yeah.
But so anyway, no, I back to what you were saying is when I was there, right? When I was 39 at the end of my pain and suffering ritual of drugs and alcohol, I think a lot of me was, I was sitting there like I remember distinctly being like, all my friends have kids and families, and here I am sitting on the top of some hill alone at 40, like this, I missed it. I distinctly remember being like, I missed it. I missed the boat, dude. Like I went off on this rebels route and just, I missed it. And then you think about what is real wealth, right? I kind of hit on this the other day with someone had chimed in with the tax the rich thing. And it kind of took a moment where I circled back and I was like, who are the rich people? Like, who are the rich? Because the monetary world, which is causing the depression and the failure of the whole thing, isn't the wealth. The wealth is a dad with 2 children that we love walking in and we're dedicated. That's the tax they're trying to ensue on us, is to take the spark from our children, man, is to take the spark from our daughters and our wives and us and have us devolve into this chaotic self-eating thing. And I've really realized that that's where a lot of this is coming from, is we've been so labeled on to what is rich, what is wealth, what is value. And to me, like I found it at 45, when I watched my son being born, it all made sense to me. I was like, wow, I almost missed it. Because I used to be very left about that concept of like, I can't bring another child into this planet. It's gone, world gone mad, and all that kind of stuff. And then I saw my being that God had given me to chaperone through this crazy dream. And I was like, oh, wow, like there is nothing that I've experienced in this life that has any value compared to that one life right there. And it shifted my thing. And it was like, in that sense of like the abundance followed once the spell was broken on what, because this is all trinket dance, right? Like promo codes and t-shirt sales, we still got to sell our t-shirts, but where are we going with all the t-shirt sales? What is it we need? Like, cause it's me just figuring out how to slow it all down enough to play more with my son, not less, right?
That's yeah. As someone who owns a little business myself, it's like, yeah, there's never going to be an end to what you have to do, and you have to end those things every day early enough so you can spend the time with them. And that's what I'm struggling with big time, like just turning off the faucet for a minute and just doing what's right.
Well, yeah. So here, I thought like this was pretty like cogent to what we were talking about. So I got this DM from from what I know to from what it is. It's a, hey, Illusion, I don't know, do I give away any information here? This goes right on to what we were talking about. This is from a young person. Hey, Illusion, I feel weird messaging someone I don't actually know, but your videos about the impact of this whole situation on teens hit a nerve with me. I've been watching you since I was 13. It hit me that the coof began when I was 15 and I'm now 17. It's so bizarre how crazy different the last 2 years of my life have been compared to the first few years of my teens. It's a massive hole in my trajectory of a part of mine and many others of my age lives where we are supposed to be experiencing the world and being social and finding out who we are and where we're being forced to stay home, do online school, and kind of just process how these things are going and how effed up it is that these teen years have been so stone cold and tense and empty compared to what they would have been. The darkness definitely creeps in and you get angry and confused over it. Like that's straight from the mouth of a teen. Like I'm a 52-year-old male. Like I'm battling the man, dude. You know what I mean? I like my
bro. This is so when you're on that. I told a friend of mine. I was literally talking to myself today. I was giving myself a whole. I'm weird like this. I'm in the shower, and I'm talking to an audience of people in the shower. Okay, for about 20 minutes, because I had to like put things where they were. And I was speaking to my local community in the shower, right? Because my Muslim community, my son wanted to play with his little friend Aziz the other day and take him to the trampoline park. Aziz is another 7-year-old kid who goes to school. My son goes to a private Islamic school. He's been going there for a couple of years now. My wife we're expecting another baby, and she's working twice a week, 3 times a week now. And so we're not in the position to yank him out because of the damn mask thing and the temperature check. So they're doing that. So I bought him a mask that is like almost like it's like a whatever. It's called freedom mask, ironically, where he can breathe. It's ridiculous. But anyways, it's so he could breathe because of this the lunacy. So I'm feeling guilty about that. And I'm seeing my whole community dumb silent about this whole thing. Dumb silent. Not one leader except one guy who is a professor in the local college of Berkeley. They have a seminary, an Islamic seminary called Zaytuna. He's the only one there who's speaking out, and he's actually writing religious exemptions for people who are being forced to do the juice, the Kabbalah juice. And so long story short is I'm like just freaking out over this because I want to go and like choke people because they're not speaking. But then another side of me is like, well, maybe I should just, maybe that's not the right way. I need to just not say anything. I don't want to rock the boat. And really my wife is like, don't say anything to anyone. And it hit me the other day, when my son wanted his friend to come to the trampoline park, the mom, who's a white lady, she's not Pakistani, she's not Arab, she's white like me, who's a convert to Islam, just like me. She's like, my son can't go play with your son until they're both get the sauce.
Wow.
7-year-old, her son, and my son. I'm like, so I realized a part of me was just like disgusted by her, but then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? The silence of the leadership, I'm just speaking about my community in general, those people have mass followership on Instagram and YouTube, and you have thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people have not made a peep about this. And I was like, well, maybe they know. And then I'm like, you know what? They don't know. That's what's crazy. Is that I think you were the one. I think you were the one who said it, or a friend of mine said it. Was like, it's about those who are either conscious or unconscious. I don't want to say woke, but those people who are literally conscious of this whole thing, whatever this whole zeitgeist is called, Brovid, or they're not. And it really, and I'll conclude with this, is it really made me realize, for what you're doing and in our own little way, how important it is to be there to be that voice of reason, to be a voice of reason, and to be there at least saying, giving people, saying enough to give people a choice. But yeah, the silence from my community is really, it's really been that's this week is what I've been plagued by. It's really bothering me. And I'm feeling like, almost like, I don't know, man. I'm feeling like a cross between like a guilt and a hypocrite, and sort of like, and a part of me wants to just like turn it all off and get myself like really right, and then kind of come back. Like, I don't know. But
it's that thing, right? Like, there's no days off, man. There is like as I'm with you, like on that whole thing. Yeah, you just want to, like, you need a regroup day, but there isn't a regroup day. Like, we're as dads and adults and conscious beings who are in contact with God. Like, we don't get that luxury, and it's super hard because we have to balance it out in some sort of weird way. You know what I mean? Like to take the bigger picture on. Like, yeah, like I worry about that. I trip on that stuff. Owl's pretty close to me, but I worry about like the social aspects of this all, like, because there's things I won't compromise on. Like, I have a different scenario. You have a whole different world going on than I do. So it's easier for me to draw a line and be like, oh, you're staying home with me and we're homeschooling, and that's the end of the deal. The teenager came back riotous and was like, no, I'm going to public school and I don't care about all of this stuff. Like, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, but you don't, and I'm like, dude, you're old enough now where, like, if that's, and it's like, it's diametrically opposed to where I'm at. I would be like, stand your ground about all this stuff. And then you get into this thing, right? So I was at this, I talked to two of my viewers showed up out of New York yesterday, right? And I went and met with them. And then I'm like, well, after I see you, I'm going to downtown LA for the Freedom Rally against the mandates. And they're like, so what's your point? And I go, why I'm going isn't for me. I'm doing what I do. I'm going because there's guaranteed there's going to be some other parent there who's showing up to one of these things for the very first time ever, who's terrified about the options facing them. And I'm there just to be present, to count. I'm not there to like cause trouble. I'm not there to say anything. I'm not there to do anything except to be there so that some other parent that's walking this walk doesn't have to feel alone. Because I, as a political activist and an environmental activist and a malcontent and a loner and an alcoholic, I can walk alone all day long. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I have no qualms about you telling me I'm stupid, I'm F you, or that. I don't care. But I understand that for a lot of people right now, like, they're scared and they're looking at their children going, I don't know what to do, because there's no the amount of pressure coming down as to what we're talking about, the peer pressure, no to say no. Most people do not know how to look someone in the face and go no, because they think that no comes with no, but because, oh, well, or no with an FU attached to it. No is just Dude, no means no. My advice to anyone out there is no does not come with a sentence following it. No is N-O. It does not need to be explained any further. And what they've done with this thing is made it into like a polarizer. Like, I am not anti anybody. I'm pro everybody, actually, dude. Like, as a spiritual being, I have to forgive it all, right? I have to forgive my enemy. I have to forgive all of that. It doesn't make me a doormat. We always get this crazy troll. Let me delete this. Well, do I have any wrenches out there to delete this?
I'm working on it right now.
Oh, I got it. So like, what is the voice? Is there any point? Is there any point going and doing something that's futile at this point? Right? Is there any point yelling at any?
No. And I it's yeah, it's not. I think I think my we have our 5th kid coming, and they're all young, they're all small. And in my mind, to be honest with you, I'm just like, well, how do I get FU money? I hate to say it, but it kind of, a lot of this comes down to like, not all of it, because there is like divine intervention. There's the mercy and grace of God and there's, God parted the sea for Moses. Moses didn't need money for that.
No.
You know what I mean? And there's a reality to like, those miracles are still there and still can happen. There is also the system that we live in. That's a system of means that requires us to have some means to go and hand over some money to buy some land so we can, I had a conversation with my wife last night. I was like, well, we should probably try to get out of here and move to some like higher ground, somewhere. Like,
I don't think you're not the only sane, rational adult with children having that conversation with their wife.
And I'm just feeling it, and what, like, kind of looking at like the sort of the encroaching tsunami that we're all feeling, that's sort of there looming in the distance. So like, at least we get inland a little bit and get out of the green zone, so to say. And then, and she's like, well, can't God just protect us here? And it's like, yes, but also there's you gotta, as they say, you gotta tie your camel. You don't just let your camel not be tied to the pillar. You gotta tie your horse, because the horse, anyone can get on, and anyone can come along and steal your bike.
Yeah.
No,
but my pastor today said something pretty radical in church today. And he was like, and it hit me hard, because like I said, is I'm free enough. I'm like, but he said something today in his sermon. He was like, if you're going to move out of the state of California right now because of the overwhelming odds against you, you're abandoning lots of moms who are single, who are trying to stand up to this with children. And so, Al, I'm talking to, okay, I understand. Thank you for telling me the time. And it was this kind of clarion call where I was like, yeah,
that's legit. That's accurate, actually. But go ahead.
And I think because there's all these scared parents right now who don't know what to do, who are overwhelmed by the thing, trying to hang on to the best they can and protect their children at the same time. And it was basically like, look, you as a man and a warrior, if you fold up tent and you split early, you've abandoned these people. And I was like, whoa, dude, because like, I'm right there with you, man. Like, California is not a safe place to be, but then again, it's where God's got me, and it's where my camel's parked, man. So,
I agree with that, though. That's sort of that is, you know, there's something to be said about like when you look at the life of like Jesus and Moses and these great, if you want to get, you know, biblical.
They didn't cut.
Huh?
They didn't cut.
Yeah, they all were they were literally in the belly of the beast, you know, conveying the message because that's where people needed it most. And they didn't cut until God, the one who cut was punished. And then he came back. And you know who that was? It was Joseph, it was Eunice. It was Job. He left his crowd early, he left his people early, and then he was swallowed by the fish. You know?
Yeah.
You're familiar with the story of not Job, that's
Jonas.
Jonah.
No.
Jonah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jonah, and the Arabic word is Eunice is the Arabic name, but Jonah was swallowed because he left early. He aborted his mission. So that's real what you're saying, you know, being what you're, you know, being there.
Because that's
here for a reason. Yeah.
Well, right. Isn't that the trouble with consciousness and us being who we are is like,
who is it? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, that's the trouble with being conscious right now and a warrior and having a certain amount of self-respect and willing to stand up against this beast right now is that it's beyond us. Like I don't know if we have, like, guys like us have the luxury of folding up our tents right now and being like, okay, we're out of here. And when it's like, no, like we're sort of we're the watchmen on the tower at this point. Like if we don't stand, if we don't stand up for ourselves, who's going to stand up for us? No one. Right. And
bro, yeah, I went into Whole Foods today. Yeah. I went into Whole Foods today and I literally was the only person in there. And I'm not saying this to like, you know, put people down or whatever, but it was like, everyone is just sort of, they've reached a point of to tolerate it all. People are tolerating it. And that, you know, I think there's a lot of those people, they don't want to, but they've been so sort of programmed that it does require someone to stand there and say, you know what, it's okay. You don't have to like do this anymore. But yeah, if everyone who has that way of thinking or that understanding picks up and jams, then yeah, you know, leaving everyone in the.
Is it one of those things, right? Like again, is if we move it over into the God space, is like God will clearly tell us, and it'll be obvious, like when like we're supposed to go, like if that's the case, and there's a part of me that's that like, it's like even reading that kid's message right there. You know, there's some 13-year-old kid out there who's struggling in his own world, dude. And some character out here talking is keeping him like moving forward. And I go, yeah, I could turn this all off and go underground and, you know, whatever. And I just go, no. And I go, but I don't believe in the more and more I study it, I don't believe in the conflict, Jordan. Like I just know our only way out of this thing is this deeper understanding of love and grace and forgiveness. And it's not doormatty, because you come to my house, it's game over. But it's this, hey, Charlie, can you handle that WebBot guy and just crush those, please, Charlie? Thank you, buddy. And it's very much, it's very much this thing where so I went down to the Freedom Rally yesterday, right? And it got hijacked by the Trump tards, man. Like and I'm convinced they were feds, dude. Like, because the mandate thing is reaching across sauced lines, political boundaries. Like I know people that are sauced that no, this is unacceptable. And I know, and these are liberal people that, you know, 6 months ago would have been like, and they're like, no, this is unacceptable, dude. And so I was at this thing yesterday, and the first one I went to 6 weeks ago or a month ago, dude, was very different energetically. It was a lot of these new people to it. And this one was completely hijacked by the Trump tards. And so I was watching what was going on because I'm a trained activist, right? I was watching what was going on, and I saw this hijacking of this unified rally for freedom, because if you're against the mandate, there is no political party involved with you anymore. You're either conscious or you're unconscious. Like, it's not about right, left, or polarized thoughts. And these dudes came with this giant brand new Trump won banner, right? And I'm looking at these dudes and I go, man, I know how much that thing cost, big bucks. And it's brand new, and you put that in. You're here to tax. And Al, would you not right now, Bert? I'll be done in a minute. The less you bother me, the more quicker I'm at. Okay. Well, why don't you? But not. It's too gnarly when you're behind me. Please pull up a chair then.
Why?
Because it's like you're kind of just in my backspace. So
I just jumped.
I know. Yeah.
I saw, buddy.
And so when I saw it, I was like, oh, wow. Like, you really saw the manipulation of this other character, where we're actually, I think, achieving more ground than we know, because I think people are so sketched right now. They're silent. I think that like, you talk to like your people, like in your community, right? I think there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm terrified of this machine that's moving my way. So I'll just play along and hope someone else solves
my local imam scholar, he took the jab and the sauce and is like, and he's just like, yeah, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do.
That's, people look,
I'm not downing him. I would have downed him about probably a week ago, but I'm trying to not down people anymore, because everyone has their own
those people. The interesting thing is, those people have signed up for more. Like, unfortunately, like whether I don't buy into I can go down the dark tunnels about that stuff. Basically, all they signed up for was more requirements, more this, more that. I think for me, it's like, no, I'm not signing up for more on any level, dude.
I'm not going in the door.
No, I'm not inviting.
I'm not going to go in Pee-wee's Funhouse today.
No. But I'm convinced that the spell is so getting fractured, because California is such a weak representative of what's going on. I mean, you look at some of those rallies that went on, that one in NYC. There was another big one in some random city, like, and you see that this isn't going away. Like, last week, like, think about all the weird stuff that got revealed last week. At the end of the week, you had that the Alphabet Agency didn't approve the third round of it. They said, nah. You had the thing where it got revealed that cold-blooded murder of children occurred under the watch of our leader, supposedly, right? Of your people, man, were cold-blooded murdered, man, by a military drone strike, right? You had that revealed. You have all this other stuff that, like, there was a big ball of like truth, and we're moving into the new week, where I don't think the narrative can stay true. And I think what you're going to have is a lot of these people who are going to begin to like get a little bit of confidence, the more the people like us just hold the ground. And we're not anti. You, like, all day long, you can say I'm anti. I don't care. Like, I'm not involved with that mindset.
Yeah, and I know we probably got to close out soon, but it was interesting. That was because that's how our whole entire upbringing has been. Our whole entire upbringing has been polarization. If you look at from something as small as McDonald's to Burger King, Target to Walmart, Bloods to Crips, Democrat to Republican, Pepsi to Coke.
Oh yeah.
Dolphins versus the Steelers. Our whole, everything has always been an us versus them thing. It's all that false binary. It's like, I don't want either side. I want truth and I want justice. If I can't find it on the right or the left, then I'm going to go down the middle, it's really what it is, so.
Well, I mean, I think the numbers are starting to reveal themselves. I mean, those numbers coming out of promo code land are very revealing, dude, with who's been affected. And then you had, what was it? Purdue University had some pretty radical numbers show up where like, where it's no, don't hurt yourself, dude. Where it's I think again is whether it's right or wrong is the people that have held on to their own personal truth, and your own personal truth can be like doing that, right? I think that's a lot of like where the thing is if that's your personal truth, where you're doing this because it's your personal space, that's fine. Like, I don't think you're harmed. I think that's what this is all about, is you holding your personal space without fear of coercion on any level. Because I would be the last person is to coerce someone not to do something, and don't coerce people to do something. And it's like, so we have a common friend who is a photographer, right? Skate photographer. And he had a son the same age of mine. And he was, when we first had our little guys together, his boy was next to mine. And I was like, nah, I don't do that stuff, dude. Like, I don't participate in the needles with my son. And he's like, well, my dad's a doctor. I have zero fear of that. And I go, see, that's the same for me. I'm doing mine because I'm not in fear one way or the other. I made a decision. That's the decision I'm rolling with. And he made his decision not based upon fear either. And I go, that's all you got to do, is make your decision based upon no fear. And I think the catch that they've got people doing is they're making their decisions based upon fear versus logic, rational reasoning. Like, yeah, I'm afraid of the world, so I'm going to go do this. And I think you've just signed your own like fear exponential growth there. But I think the people that walk up into the line and are like, I just do, like my skate filmer buddy who does the pool skating filmer, that dude's just like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I just did it because I need to go do what I got to go. I'm going to the Olympics or whatever. Yeah. And he didn't have any fear about it. And I go, but we didn't have any conflict because we're two warriors doing our thing fearlessly, dude. Right? You know what I mean? If that makes any sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't follow that lead, but
neither, brother.
I understand where not ready to be turned into a human antenna just yet.
Not yet. It's
hot girls, hot boys. That's so bad, man. I've never seen this before.
Well, no, that tells you like somehow like we are over the target, because we
ever get this before?
Usually we get spammed if we're over the target.
Okay.
This is sort of proof that like what we're doing is,
if you get Jordan Richter on there, you're probably a little bit close to the target.
Yeah. Well, we've been poking the bear pretty heavily the last couple episodes. Been poking the bear too. But they don't want us talking
not about like that poking.
They don't want us talking about mental health issues. No. They want us arguing about stuff and condemning other people's journeys. And I think both of you and I, as much as we're like, there's a certain level of frustration with the people falling in line to what is obviously like a bad outcome. Like, I'm not going to get into conflict with people about it. Like, that's not.
I feel that's where I need to, for my own sanity and for my own spiritual development, and to keep my heart protected, I need to not get mad at people. I need to have, there is something to be said about being merciful and gracious to people, even when they're because they're harming themselves. It's not like they're harming me.
Yes.
So you need to be understanding, and I'm saying I need to be understanding and kind, so that maybe it might help them in some way, or at least protect myself from becoming a embittered, jerk to
Well,
everyone.
let's be clear. I get rageful about all this. There's just a point where like I just know that like that's what the thing wants more than anything, is to get a dude like me to
Well,
crack
yeah.
and end up in it. So I watch all those. There was a dude the other day, the dudes who do the cop watch, who film in public, the First Amendment audit guys, that they film in public, and then people, and then the cops come and they have the First Amendment right to film wherever they want. They're called audit guys. They're First Amendment audit guys. So there was one over here the other day, and they were filming in front of a church here in our local town, right? And the church people got all uptight. They didn't have their Christian vibe on for that Sunday. These dudes were filming in front of the church, and this dad rolled up on these dudes, parked his car, got out, and started swinging on these dudes. And he got taken away and arrested because like he assaulted these camera dudes, and yeah, they're out pushing the Al, stop messing with the cord, please. They're out pushing the envelope of the whole thing. But that dude, at the end of the day, failed his Christian mission because he went and assaulted some dudes who were doing nothing more than being a pain in the ass with their cameras on a public sidewalk, right? Yeah. And that's the way I look at it. So when these idiots that showed up at this freedom rally yesterday with their Trump won banners and their whole thing, and they're in their like flak jackets and their flags and their whole thing, they weren't there for any other reason but to get into a fight with the Antifa dudes and have that suck the oxygen out of what was a rally about freedom, right? Because conflict is the only thing that the system has to use against us. As a trained activist, as a nonviolent disobedient activist, like the thing that you learned was the one thing that you have, the most powerful tool you have if you're fighting the man is nonviolent non-compliance, right? Have the cop billy club you over the head on camera while your hands are locked to a girl or somebody else. Show no fear and show no aggression towards them, and let them show themselves to be who they are. And it might be just simply you're fulfilling a bond with that person where you have to take the abuse so that they can have their spiritual awakening maybe 20 years later when they're laying in bed one night and they're like, oh my God, I billy clubbed that kid at some tree protest and made his head bleed. And oh my, I got to go to God, right? We don't know how it all works. So I see all this stuff and I'm like, wow, man, like all it wants me to do is break ranks. Like we're like guys like you and I and all these other parents, like we're standing shoulder to shoulder against the gnarliest, most oppressive entity the world has ever known. Maybe time has ever known. I don't know if you buy into the timeline. I don't, but maybe for our timeline. And they want me to break ranks with you, go sock some dude, get an arrest record going and be occupied in courts and deal with that. So I can't like deal with my family. But my job is to stay with you shoulder to shoulder and not budge and not run from the line and not go assault the dude, because we as men of God with families, we have to rise to the occasion right now. And the occasion right now to me is this thing, and the day may change where that narrative goes out the door, and we are ready for that too. but
man, I mean, it's definitely it's more of a spiritual battle than anything. At the end of the day, it's all like, and that spiritual battle is about just like you're saying, I mean, it's really about getting ourselves right with God. And then from getting ourselves right, we become one less dysfunctional human being in society, one less, person who's going to, be a source of heartache and pain and oppression for someone else. And we're doing our job as fulfilling our purpose, which is to, clean ourselves of all these,
and we have to be here for our children. Like
absolutely.
But again, is we can't be cowards either. I way rather have my son honor me as a warrior who stood the line for him and not be here than some dude who caved and And my son looks at me in his older years and is like, Dad, you wussed, bro. Like, what'd you do? Why'd you crumble? And a lot of these dads are going to have to answer to their children down the line and be like, so Dad, why did you crumble, dude, against them? That weak puppet of power, you crumbled to those other dads hung in there. They stood their ground, they grew their tomato bushes and did their thing. I gotta see a question on this. Do you know who Mufti Menk is?
Mufti Mink?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Mufti Mink.
What's Mufti Menk?
He's a Islamic scholar.
Oh, okay. He's pushing the sauce.
Just completely embarrassing.
Gnarly. Yeah, there you go.
Embarrassing fool.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll just tell it straight. Embarrassing fool.
Yeah, we're telling it straight here. No, and the other thing is me, I'll tell you, I will tell you the one thing that has been a lot, and you have way more to deal with than I do. But the one thing that is really,
I don't know about that, but go ahead. Yeah.
is proven to be a blessing here, that it was I was way overwhelmed with on the thought process, but in the actuality, it's the homeschooling has been truly much more caveman technology than I ever imagined. Like Owl shows up and he's into it. Like, and we have free time to do what, like, just.
I know that's the inevitable, because I'm like, I feel completely torn by my kids, by them having to do the whole pantomime.
Look at Mike.
Hey,
I see him.
I see, buddy. This is a guilt, and again, I feel like a hypocrite in some ways, because it goes against everything that I believe. But I also, as a part of me, where I had to sort of compromise a little bit for my wife, because even though she's fortunately she has a religious exemption, and for her job she doesn't have to play shoot 'em up saucy girl. But it's just it's our goal is to get everyone homeschooled. Like, that's the ultimate goal, and that's, I would say, probably by next year we'll be on the
and what I would say is it's much easier than you would think, and it's actually way more to watch them like spark. It's like one of those, it's a promo code you realize you never needed, like when you're like sitting there and you're like, oh, okay, like,
Daddy.
we don't need to do all that dancing, we can fully pull this off.
Does this thing not need power?
No, it doesn't. So anyway, that's it. I think we encourage each other, and we accept where each person's at. Like, I think that's a lot of the communication, is not one size fits all, man. Like, what works for me doesn't need to work for you.
My 12-year-old is homeschooled right now. He started a Quran memorization course, and he has like a tutor he goes to, which is like, but he's homeschooled basically. He doesn't go to like a school. He basically goes to a tutor's house, and so he's completely like off the grid. I formed the Richter Academy, the Richter School Academy. So it's basically, I got like the affidavit and everything to start.
Oh, okay.
So I did the affidavit. I'm just, it's really just like getting my better half to like kind of come on board with.
I get it like that.
With the whole package, So,
well, that was the thing, because I wasn't getting that when this thing happened a year and a half ago, and she instantly was like, all right, you've won this one, but like, but looking at it, because like I said, the teenager popped back in, and the amount of like nonsense, like every day I have to send in a digital health form. Like, it's crazy when you see what's going on in that level, dude. It's pretty like mellow where she's at, but it's still like, talk about we psychotic. But what are you gonna do? We got,
I call it pandemic light. It's like the light version of the it's like it's total pantomime.
Oh no! This is all just some stupid You know, it's theater class 101,
Yeah.
dude.
We're going through a crazy pandemic. By the way, you're gonna go to the ball game tomorrow?
Yeah. These people don't even believe in what they're selling, dude. That's like, I like, again, I just don't like people that aren't committed to their role completely, that keep flubbing their lines.
Yeah, if you're gonna be scared and freaking stay home, be
Well,
scared.
no,
Be really scared.
It's that thing is if Dr. Evil could at least get his dialogue correct and stop blowing his lines, but he's meant to blow his lines because he's, again, informing you that this is all nonsense.
Yeah.
So everybody just came home, so we've run long, but
No worries. I
I
enjoyed
love you,
it.
brother.
I love you too. I always enjoyed speaking with you, brother. We are gonna try to coordinate something where my boys can play and you guys can hang out, okay?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be on the road here pretty soon, so we'll swing by.
All right. Let us know.
All right. Okay.
bye.
All right. Good
Peace.
night. Bless.
Good night. You too.